Hey. Welcome to your Aunties Could Never, a podcast for cool aunties and uncles everywhere. I'm Auntie AK and I am here with
Auntie Farah,
Auntie Nana,
Auntie Sade,
and
Auntie Vanessa.
Welcome, Auntie Vanessa. We'll be getting into your business a bit later, but thank you for now for joining us and being with the aunties, coming to join the family. How are you, my aunties? How are you, my aunties? And what's been the highlight of your day so far? Auntie Farah, I'm going to you because you're literally looking like, I don't know what my highlight is.
the highlight of my day is you understanding that I don't know what my highlight of the day is.
I really, nothing has stood out for me today. I can't even try and blag it. Okay, all right. So the highlight was yesterday. I did cane row on my son's hair, and he's just been strutting around and peacocking, and I'm just really happy that they came out nice and neat. So that was the highlight of my yesterday.
That's a good one. I could go to 2 days ago.
Cute. That's very cute. I don't really have a highlight of a day. I think like all the day is like quite small, but maybe the week is one of them is I went to Jules's, a producer Jules baby, a night at the Jazz Cafe on Friday, and it was just absolutely amazing. I had a great time. It was house and amapiano, and it just feels like the good old garage days. It's just that energy. I just absolutely love it, and I had a fantastic time. So that was my highlight.
Auntie Vanessa, do you have a highlight so far this week or today?
I know it might sound cheesy, but this is it. Like being on the show today is literally the highlight of the week. I'm so happy to be here, and it's like I've had so many messages. Like I was saying to you earlier, I've had so many messages of people saying, "Oh my god, that's my favorite podcast. I watch it on YouTube." So you ladies are giving me like mad street cred right now. So yeah, so excited to be here. So, yeah.
I've changed mine. My highlight of the day was you saying that to us.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that is my highlight, definitely. And my other highlight was I finally finished The Shield. That was yesterday. I've been rewatching one of the best cop shows ever in history of TV cop show dramas, serials. The Shield. If you can get access to watch it. It's brilliant. 7 seasons. I watched it. It's on the veins of The Wire, Southland, Homicide, Life on the Street. So it's one of those gritty realism ones set in LA. So it's all gangs and corrupt cops. Did I say that right? Corrupt cops.
It sounded good to me, even if you didn't say like corrupt cops.
Anyway, it's really good. So I'm really proud. I'm really happy that I finished it because I can get back to my regular programming. So I need stuff to watch now. So we'll have a chat about what to watch. Okay, Auntie Farah, warm us up, kid.
Okay, so this morning I was doing the school run on the way to work, that usual shout, and I listen in the morning. I like to listen to Nadia J. Shout out to her breakfast show on BBC One Extra. And today she came with violence, real violence. So I thought it only right that I share that with you beautiful ladies in here. And it's Auntie Sade's favorite game. One's gotta go.
Come on.
So once go, producers, I'm going to give you 4 producers. Woo. And you have to disregard their personalities. You have to disregard their relationship status. You have to disregard anything about them other than their production and the music that they have brought forward to us.
I already know Kanye.
Okay, I'm not finished. No interruptions. I'm saying the rules. After we go around the room, and I tell you, give you some of the examples of their production, I would like you to let me know which one has got to go. And if you cannot, there is a forfeit. Okay? Right. So as with the producers, we have Pharrell Williams. Now, Pharrell Williams is, obviously he was in Nerd, Neptune's produced, but he also brought us things like SWV, Use Your Heart. Don't know if you guys knew that. Black Sheep, Tonight Is the Night. Don't know guys you know. Rex in Effect, Rump Shake Up.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the Jay-Z ones that he did, ones that he's done with Snoop, you know, Khalees, ODB. The man has brought us a lot of good music. Next up, we have Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Dre has obviously brought us NWA and all of that stuff. He's brought us 50 Cent. He's brought us Snoop. He's brought us Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to say it that with my chest.
She had to get me stressed.
My whole chest had to come out at Kendrick Lamar. He's done songs for Mary J. Blige. He's done songs for Eve. The list goes on and on and on and on. Right? Next up, we have Timbaland. Now, Timbaland, at first I was like, I could get rid of Timbaland. But then when I started to look at the man's catalogue, he brought us Usher. Can you get with it? Yeah, that's him. He also brought us Sister, like we know. He brought us Aaliyah, like we know. He brought us Jodeci, Diary of a Mad Band. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. And then last, but by no means least, considering it is the man's birthday tomorrow, Auntie Sade's not so favorite, Kanye West. Now, again, you have to disregard all the things that I said. Personality, any statements that he might have made, relationship status, anything like that, simply musical production. And whilst you might say you can live without Kanye, you got to think about all the songs that he's done for Jay-Z. He's also done songs for Beyonce. He's done songs for Ludacris. He's done songs for Alicia Keys. He's done songs for, and I mean like classic first album, Alicia Keys. I feel like you're
over-enhancing Kanye's.
I'm actually not. You can rewind the tape. I've actually bigged them all up. Okay. So my thing is, one has got to go, and we're gonna do it in alphabetical order because you was running your mouth. Auntie AK, who you?
I wasn't running my mouth. I think I would say. Do you know what? Because of the state of society and the state, I've just watched The Shield and I've been immersed in LA gang life. Just for the purposes of this game, I'll get rid of Dr. Dre because of how big an impact gangster rap has had, even though I love it with my whole heart. But it has a very lasting, devastating effect also to the community and the culture. And so just for that, I'd get rid of Dr. Dre. But I literally would never get rid of Dr. Dre. But yeah, Dr. Dre's easy one.
Next up, Auntie Nana.
You know, I don't care for any of these people.
She just likes garage.
No surprise at all.
She just likes garage.
I know if
They
I said
can all go. No, you know what?
Garage DJ, who I don't know, then she would have had a fit. But
yeah, that would have been great. You know, I think Dr. Dre as well. There's nothing that I think he's done that I'm like, that's one of my tunes. So he can go.
Oh, nothing, no tunes at all.
No,
like none of the Mary stuff.
No.
No, she don't like R&B. Remember?
No.
Kendrick.
They can all go. Apart from Kanye West.
Okay. Okay. I mean, Gemini to Gemini. I don't blame you. Auntie Sade.
You know what?
This is so easy for me. Sorry.
Now remember all the caveats.
I know. I don't care, Kanye. Like, I just don't, in terms of like his own music. If I look at it like that, I don't listen to his.
No, it's not his own music. It's music.
But he also produces his own.
No, but we're not talking about them as because I could have said.
Oh my God! Can I actually finish what I'm saying?
You're doing what Auntie AK does. You're deviating from the rules.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I did say what it was, and it's Kanye.
That's fine. Okay, but you were deviating from the rules. It's like you two switch places for a hot second.
And I think I'm going to go back because I was like, yeah, you know.
No,
what?
it's Auntie Vanessa. You're up.
This is a hard one. I think I get where Shanae is coming from because Kanye West as an artist I like, but as a producer I couldn't necessarily say, apart from the Jay-Z stuff, a few Jay-Z tunes. I wouldn't say he's worked with so many artists and he's not had a big impact on music as a producer. So I'd say Kanye based on that. The other producers have had an impact on the music industry as a whole for other artists. So Kanye can
No.
go.
Wow. Okay, that's very, very interesting. I mean, yeah, this is hard for me because I think all of them, their catalog is amazing. Like their production catalog is amazing. And when I was first listening to this and I thought about it, I thought to myself, oh, Timbaland go. But then I thought, okay, well, that means Jodeci. That means Missy. That means Aaliyah. That means, you know, Usher. That means so many people. So it made me be a bit like, well, no. And then when I looked at Kanye, I discovered songs that I didn't even know that he produced. So, you know, as I said, I mentioned Alicia Keys, you've got John Legend, you've got Keisha Cole, you've got a whole bunch of rap artists. And I was just like, he definitely can't go for me from a production point of view.
So who are you going?
So I am going to take a shot. And that was the forfeit because I can't get rid of not a one of them because there's no way I cannot have Dr. Dre because of the way I feel about Kendrick Lamar. Like, it's just, it can't happen. Everybody else, I could probably do without. But Kendrick, no. That's violence right there. So I'm going to take a shot.
Take a shot. Cheers.
From the Jenny.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. All right. Is that the end of the games?
That is that on that.
Okay. Auntie Nana, who you welcoming to the family? So I just brought out shots. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Take a shot for forgetting that.
Go on.
Take a shot. Auntie Vanessa, is there anyone you want to welcome to the family? Anyone that you've been appreciating this past couple of weeks, months? I don't know. Recently, who's anyone that stood out for you? No pressure because Auntie Nana didn't.
Do you mean like as in my personal life? So someone like
no, it could be anything because we tend to welcome to the family someone that we just think is doing big things. It could be someone famous, it could be someone in your personal life. Just someone.
I have someone.
You're robbing Auntie Vanessa.
Maybe we can both do it. Maybe we can
go on.
All right, you go first, and then I can go after.
Okay. All right. This is like a really big thing. I would like to welcome to the family Omar, who has just been given a role on EastEnders. And yeah, I love that he carried on with his acting. When he was at Identity, he was there with my husband, and I watched him in 2 different plays, and he was a brilliant actor as well as like one of my favorite singers as well. So I would like to welcome Omar to the family.
Okay, welcome, Uncle Omar. That's a good one.
Welcome.
What about you, Vanessa? Do you have anyone?
Oh, this is a hard one.
No,
There's so many.
There's no pressure.
There's so many people. I don't know. I'm quite bad at this. I can't think of one. Actually, this might go into why I'm so mad. I want to welcome to the family at least the 148 Conservative MPs that did something, the one good thing that they could ever do in their life, what they did yesterday. And that's all I'll say about that, yeah?
We're welcoming 148 Tory MPs to the family for half an hour because they're going to have to go.
Just for a limited amount of time.
Just for a nanosecond.
Yeah, they are about for 5 seconds in there.
Yeah,
welcome, guys, and out you go.
It's not a big clap for them. It's like a real slow.
Welcome.
Do your hands actually meet clap?
Exactly. Take your meat and go.
Definitely won't get a plate. All right. Okay, guys, let's get your plates, let's get your drinks, and let's start the show. If you're listening to the show, don't forget to leave your reviews on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else you can leave wonderful comments about the aunties. We also now have a Patreon. Sign up. We have 3 tiers. And listen, what we're trying to do, Patreon family, is build a bit of a family. We aunties need to get together. We're stuck in these boxes and we want to get out. We want to break out. We want to get in the studio. We're using our Patreon to like build the team, build the up the levels of aunties. So please sign up and come with us on our journey to getting into a room together at the very least. Okay, so that's that. So sign up to Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/your aunties could never. Moving on. Now it's time for what happened?
Come on, talk. Yeah, sorry.
So now moving on to what have you heard as news and culture, where we get the popular news and popular culture stories of the day. Go ahead.
Sorry. So, seeing as Auntie Vanessa welcomed those 148 MPs to the family for a nanosecond, we may as well talk about Bojo and Bojo Gets Booed in Public Johnson. and the the Torry Tosspots that kept him in. Let's talk about that. So obviously they had this vote of no confidence. The outcome was that he won by 57%. 43% voted against him, so it wasn't quite enough. However, previously, what's happened in those situations, if you take Theresa May, John Major, although they've all won their vote of no confidence, they have then gone on to resign. So much of the press today is saying that he's on his way out. It's going to happen. I just wanted to find out from you guys if you actually were you surprised by the result? Do you think that he is going to resign, or do you believe that Boris is the actual DNA of a cockroach?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, yeah, the DNA of a cockroach, they don't ever die. You have to bash them to death, and then they come back again. Do you know what? I must admit, I don't know where I've been. Obviously, I've been in LA watching The Shield, but I did not know this was happening until you guys mentioned it yesterday. I didn't even know. I don't know how. Yeah, I'm literally always on, like, my Twitter's my newsfeed. I don't know how that went over my head. So I did not know that was happening. However, with the result, I wasn't surprised because at the moment, Boris is being Teflon Don. So I don't know what's going on here. I really, really want him to resign. Do you know, I want him to get fired. I don't want him to have the ability to look humble and have, yes, I think graciously I'm going to resign. I want him to get fired, to get kicked out, do the walk of shame, and just piss off because he's damaged this country beyond no end. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not even celebrating the 148. That's why they're leaving the party very quickly, because you should have done better. You should have done more. You should have barricaded yourself in, tied yourself to the box, do something rebellious if you really cared. And to be fair, for all this time you allowed him. So you won 48. When did you turn? Was it just because you actually believe it, or you're doing cronyism and, oh, let's do this to show, we look really good, but actually you're all a bunch of punks because you didn't stop him in the beginning and you're all at the party with him. So that 148, get out, actually leave the party right now. Sorry, you're disengaged from the family. That's what I have to say.
Right. Mate, I just think he's like doing a Wolf of Wall Street, man. I think he's like, I'm not fucking leaving. Like, I honestly, it's like he's just holding on by anything. Do you know what I mean? He'll try every tactic, every move that he can to stay in his position, because I think ultimately he probably wants to become a dictator. And he's trying to hold on to his position. Like, I don't. He's literally going to have to be pushed. Like, he's not going to go willingly at all. And it just, he just doesn't strike me as a man that, is used to know at all, or like, just being compromising in any sort of way. It's like, look at his whole life. I mean, he doesn't even comb his hair. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's just defiant for everything. So yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere, like, or willingly anyway.
The thing with Boris is he definitely isn't going anywhere without people pushing him off. But he's that guy. Remember, it wasn't too long ago I was saying how I really think he's probably going to resign soon, and he seemed reluctant in the job. And then I was watching loads of clippings of him when he was mayor, being like, I would never be prime minister. It's not what I want to do. I'm so happy being mayor. Foreign secretary, no, I don't want to be prime minister. I'm really happy. I get to travel around. It's what I've always wanted to do. This guy has got the position he always wanted, and he's going to ride it until he fucks up again, which he will, because he always does. His dad said he's a screw up. His brother said he's a screw up. He's a screw up. He will screw up again, but I think he's still going to survive because there's nobody to take his place. So they'll just keep him around until somebody steps up and is like, you know what, the Conservatives can still stay around. At this moment, Labour are dead in the water, and so is the other lot. So it's just like he's gonna stay around. I don't actually mind him at this moment in time because he's just so predictably shit. It's like, cool. And sometimes I think the world, this country deserves his shittiness as well as punishment for Brexit.
Auntie Vanessa, any words to add to Boris? Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, but I actually think that it might be a good thing that he stays, because even though it will take us longer to get to a general election, that way at least I know Conservatives are definitely out in the next election. If he goes now, they've got time to find a good leader, and then it will be this whole kind of Conservative or Labour. But I know if he stays, he's definitely going to lose the general election. The Tories can get out, and we can finally, fix up this mess that they've caused. So I'm kind of in that mode that actually maybe it's better that he just fucks up so monumentally that there's just nowhere else to go for the Tories. I just want them out.
The thing is, I don't trust them. I don't trust the public, because the public have done some wild things. They will end up, for some reason, you see the Conservatives and Boris still sitting there 20 years in. But what did you? I don't know. Did any of you guys see him and his missus getting booed? Was it boos or cheers? Because depending on which outlet you looked at, some outlets.
It was most definitely boos. I've looked at a few outlets. It was definitely boos. Even the commentators mentioned that he was being booed on his way in and on his way out. It was boos. But what I found hilarious, that there was probably the 211 Tory MPs that voted to keep him in. They were on Twitter saying, "Oh, it's amazing. Boris is getting such a great reception as he goes in." And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You really think that we're dumb, deaf, and blind? Like, we can see what's happening. Stop mocking us. I was not surprised about the outcome, just based on Boris's ability to continuously land on his feet. I wasn't even surprised by some of the people that back Boris, their comments. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, that weird-looking man, when this happened in 2019 to Theresa May won by 63%. Okay, so when this happened to her, he came out and he was like, "This is outrageous. She needs to go. There's a total no confidence in the Prime Minister." Today, he was like, "This is a brilliant result for Boris." He got 57%. "This is a brilliant result for Boris. He's done so well. This is amazing. Let's all get back on with the job. This is fantastic. Yes, he won. He won with confidence." Like, the backers are going to back him because they're probably getting backhands, and Boris is a cockroach. They cannot contest his leadership for another year. And when is there going to be an election? We actually don't know when the election is. So Boris is going to ride this wave until the wheels fall off. I just don't see him going anytime soon. You would have thought that this would have been the thing, but you would have thought that the parties would have been the thing. But you would have thought that him making statements when he was foreign secretary about Muslims would have been the thing. And then you would have thought that him going to a former colony, and standing in a temple and reciting a Ronald Kipling poem that was, that man there. Again, I didn't make it. That would have been the thing. There's been so many incidents where you thought that this would have been the thing that would have made Boris stand down from whatever platform he was on at the time, and it's just not going to be. And I have no confidence in the British public to vote him out, even if there was an election.
Me neither. Let's get the comments.
Okay. Hello to everybody. Sid says, "This will be done before 9 p.m, right?" No, it will not. Ronald says, "Auntie AK, I knew about the no confidence vote in America."
Ronald.
He also
Ronald's
said,
feisty. No, Ronald, I have to give it to you. You're very feisty. You know that.
"Is there a limit on how long a person can be Prime Minister?"
No.
Nope. Nicholas says, "Hi ladies, hello." We have Joe says, "Boris is the true Teflon Don. I don't know how he did it, but he's ride this out until the end. Nothing he says will have him leave this job." Nicola goes on to say, "You would have thought him saying about grabbing women's pussies was a thing." Sorry, that was Trump. I know they're very similar.
His twin.
Yes.
His twin.
Interesting one. Let's see. Although just to add, I do think that if Boris wants to secure him having like another run at being Prime Minister, what he should do is what everybody else does, is bribe us. Give everybody that you have their account details £20,000 I guarantee you, we will vote you in for another 4 or 5 years afterwards. Like,
Auntie Nana,
do that for us.
Okay, I know what you're going to say. I agree.
Auntie Nana, that's already happening to his friends.
No, he needs to get to the public.
We're not his friend. He doesn't need to give the general public. He doesn't need to give the worker bees any money.
He does,
because he's already given money to the people that own the bees. Do you know what I mean? To the bee factory, the people that produce the honey. He's already given them money. He doesn't need to. He needs to
bribe us too.
He's never going to bribe us. What he's going to do
already tried.
What he's going to do is,
remember now, if you're in a housing association, you're going to be able to buy.
What Maggie Thatcher did back in the 80s.
That's one bribe.
It fucked up.
They don't care about that shit.
And additionally, he's not the first to do that. The Conservatives, that was a promise that they made when they won the election, when they took over from Labour.
Yeah, David Cameron. But it didn't come into place.
That was a David Cameron promise, so that's not even new. But Boris,
he's going to put it through.
I mean,
what they do is, and they've been seen to be doing this even most recently. They give us something on one hand, and then they take it with the other, and they think you're not looking. They cut petrol by 5p a few months ago, right? Why is petrol £1.76?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah,
they said they're going to help us with the gas and electricity, the fuel bills, right? They're going to give us £400. We don't have to give it back now. They're going to give us £400, but it's going up by £800.
You're proving my point. They've got to bribe us more.
But it's not a bribe.
Okay, we're going to move on. But what I'm going to lastingly say, people have voted them in for nothing. Do not have faith. He knows he doesn't have to give us no money because people vote him in regardless.
Wow.
So let's just see. Auntie Nana, what's
just said £1.83 it is.
Yes, look at that. All right, Nana, go on. Take it away.
All right, so I'm going to go with my culture story, and it is Laurie Harvey and Micheal B Jordan have reportedly split up, and I just want to get you guys' thoughts on this. I have 2 points that I want us to be discussing. So the streets are saying that she's a player, and there's this thing of women that play around in their 20s, they do it and it's to their detriment because then they're going to be left on the shelves and nobody's going to want them when they want to settle down. So do you think she's playing a dangerous game, playing around with all of these millionaire men, but not settling down? And then also the streets are also saying that she has left him for another man and he cheated on her with a man. In this day and age, in 2022, would it be detrimental if Micheal B Jordan came out? Those are the two.
I think as far as I'm aware, what I see in the internet streets, Laurie has a kind of a reputation of being people want her recipe. They want to know how she does it, kind of thing, because she's able to bag these, I hate to say it, but
high value men. We should take a shot every time we say that.
And she doesn't seem like a pick me. She doesn't seem super desperate. She doesn't seem like she's kind of straining to kind of do it. It just happens, right, for her. She makes it look easy. So I think she does get a lot of positive kudos for that. But that's not what I'm hearing in the negative sense. What I'm hearing is that it was a contract and it's come to the end of the contract. That's what I'm hearing. Do you know what I mean? And
it's that too. It's that it was an arrangement because he's gay.
Oh, I don't know about that. I really think it's I don't know about speculating about his sexuality. I have nothing to base that on at all. Do you know what I mean? So I just wouldn't even want to. And if he is, so what? Do you know what I mean? But if he's bi, then so what as well? Let him do him, let them do them. But if it's if they had a Hollywood relationship, let's call it that kind of thing, I just thought it was fantastic. I bought in, I believed it. I love the scenes that they created. I love the moments. It was just beautiful. I would watch it again. I would subscribe. I would pay money. Yes.
I love that. Yeah. I think maybe what happened to her is one day she woke up, she rolled over, she looked at him, And she was like, you look like my dad.
Only one day.
That is that.
And at that point, she said, no, I can't. I'm sorry. It's over. That's actually what I think happened. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Mate. Teach me. I mean, Lori Harvey's a very exceptionally beautiful woman, and she's got money. So, she's not going to struggle to find a man. You know what I can't stand? This grandstanding that men do. Like, she's for the streets. She's gonna you like anyone that gets to her. She's used property, all that type of stuff. But let Lori Harvey stand in front of any of these low value men at the very least and and what are they going to do? They're all going to try and get with her, and they're going to be heartbroken, and she's going to stomp her stilettos in their neck when she's had enough. And that is that on that. So all this bitter, jealous, or angry, I don't know what's even called that group of men that are coming for her. Have fun, because I think with one thing women aren't allowed to do is date, have fun, have their own choice, make their own decisions about who they want to date. And actually, I don't know have they put the story out about why they broke up? It's not been out there. It's just they
haven't even confirmed it. Well, no, Steve Harvey has said that they have broken up, but the two of them haven't done a statement at all.
So this is the thing. No one even knows. I've seen so much it's Lori. How is it Lori's fault? How the hell do you know that this is Lori's fault? And in regards to breakups, fault. Like, whose fault? Like, what is this? Have you seen him, Michael Jabees, was at a basketball game, and the camera's on him, and he looks, and then all the memes are how you trying, when you've just broken up with someone, but you're trying to act like you're okay, and just happens to be that particular facial expression. He looks like he's trying to hold it together on the camera, and so it's really painting him as the poor, disturbed, dumped man. As for him, if Michael B Jordan it does come out that he's actually gay, I do understand in this world that we live in, how even though we seem to be appearing more liberal and more welcoming and embracing of all sorts of love, there is a thing about being an alpha, like, male pin-up hero, especially in the acting world, when you represent or occupy that space and are presented as a heterosexual, it's very hard to enjoy. Well, so far it seems to be quite difficult to enjoy the same successes and hero status if you then become gay, because then there's a whole shift in how people's mindsets look at you. And I as far as I know, there isn't a openly gay, I say black male actor who takes on leading heroic roles, whether it be an action film, thriller, drama, rom-com, who can play a straight man and he can flip from role to role with the world knowing that he's openly gay. I don't think that's happened just yet. So I do understand that and especially and I'm saying if because we really don't know, but just for the purpose of the question, if he wanted to come out or he didn't want to come out and wanted to create this persona of sex symbol, because that's obviously money, cachet for his status and brand, I would understand why he'd find it difficult, and I'd understand why he'd want to engage with someone who would boost his rep and make him look like the most straightest guy in the world. Like Auntie Shadi said, I'd hate to speculate, like I know him personally, but just for the sake of discussion. But also, he's also had loads of rumors that he likes white women, and people were saying at the time when he got with Lori Harvey that was to really counter the quite negative comments he was getting for dating a white woman, or liking white women solely, because there were a few pictures of him out with white women as well. So, but I do understand that just for general purposes, if someone's gay, black male, and wants to have like a particular career in the movie industry, being gay, I don't think anyone's done it just yet and proven to not be typecast or boxed into a certain category. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you coming to me? Sorry.
Jump in when you want to.
You know what? I'm just like, yeah, you said it all, but you know what I'm thinking? Like, Lori Harvey is 25 and she's a baddie. Oh. She's going to be a baddie at 35, at 45, at 55, when she's in her 60s. So she's a baddie. So she can, if she gets bored of someone, dump them and she'll still get with a hot guy. Anyway, or feel sorry for her. I think she'll be fine. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I think 25 years old, she's got a lot going for her. Why the hell not? Date who you want to date. Do what you want to do. She's 25. Like, women are having babies later on. She might not even want a baby. She might not even ever want to get married. She might just want to have fun. You know what I mean? So, and why does that make her from the streets? There's a bagger man out there that would love to be from the streets that she's on. So, allegedly, you know what I mean? So, like, and as far as him being gay, who cares? Like, I understand, like Auntie AK said, if it were true, why he wouldn't feel comfortable with it because of, you know, roles and things like that. But personally, it wouldn't affect me. It wouldn't affect how I look at him. It wouldn't affect, and I think it's his business to do whatever he wants to do. But on a side note, I think that Lori Harvey is probably also dealing with her lawsuit case that's come up about her skin products with Kim K. So they both
jump into that. I have some thoughts.
Oh, go on.
I just want to. So I feel that this kind of damages her reputation each time she jumps into a relationship. And why I say that is, this last run, I was noticing a lot more comments were like, I love these guys together. And then the split up seems to have been a lot more heavily weighted. So people understood with Future, it was like, how would you even get with him? But I think Michael has such a reputation of being like a really good, wholesome man. How can Lori actually leave him? There was way more sway to there's something wrong with her than it be like that's what I was seeing. I was just thinking, okay, as somebody, yes, she is 25, but does that diminish your value place in the marketplace? Like dating, would there be repercussions from going from what would be considered a really good guy and then you left him? Because that seems to be where it's at this
time. Is it for men or women, the comments?
No, this was women. I think because lots of women fancy him. So it's a bit like, how could you leave him?
I suppose that's like Halle Berry though, isn't it? Like, you see, you know, Halle Berry was the most wanted woman and everyone, you know, every man out there wants a piece of Halle. And then like when she'd go with Eric Benet or whoever the hell it was at the time, they'd be like, well, what's wrong with them? You know, but maybe she's just boring. Maybe he's just boring. Maybe they just didn't gel. Maybe she thought that it's what she needed after having some toxic relationships. Maybe they just grew apart. There's so many maybes, but it shouldn't take away from her ability to date who she wants to date. And the people that are saying that, you go and concentrate on you, innit? Like, maybe you don't know if he's a good man. We have no idea what he's really like. None whatsoever.
I just think it's got nothing to do with her value. I think like there's some women who are just super judgmental and they just tend to be the ones that type comments. Yes. Like that's it, really. Like, I just don't think it's any more that this is, like I said, like, she's just so young. She's got a whole life ahead of her. Like, I just don't even, I think this will be like an interesting footnote, like when Brad Pitt dated Sunita. Like, it's just be one of those, oh, that happened. Like,
oh my God, I forgot about that.
I love that. That's brilliant.
No, exactly. You know what? And this is the world of the internet having really high opinions, getting all frantic, and then the next shit happens. And yeah, not to say they probably won't be commenting and referencing her exes. Imagine being in the public eye, and every single step you take, your exes are referenced and against your worth. And especially if your exes have been motherfuckers, but yet you're still seen as the kind of Jezebel. The Jezebel. It's long. So yeah, all the people talking about her value, a middle finger to you all. Let her do what she's doing. And if she is if it is her who's actually the villain, then she'll get hers when she needs to get hers. Like a man in that situation, he'll get his when he needs to get his. So it is what it is. And she's 25.
Is it okay? I'm looking on her page. She's erased all of their pictures together. Is that a standard practice? Is it you go out with them and then you erase? Is that how it should go?
I was thinking, would I do it? I don't know.
But she's had quite a lot of boyfriends, so I think she has to erase them for the next one to come in and then, do you know what I mean? So I can see why.
I suppose, again, none of us know, nobody so far knows what the breakup was about. How do we know that she didn't come home and find him in bed with about 12 women and all sorts going on? And she's like, what the... And I would want to just scorch, if I could burn the internet page of his thing, if I could do more dramatics and show fire flames wherever his picture was, or do something to show my heart. We just don't know what's
happening. Because the thing about erasing people and unfollowing them, it's because it's so visible. But if you think about in your own personal life and you break up with your boyfriend, I might have one picture somewhere just so I can vaguely remember. But if you got pictures in your house of them, you're going to take them down, aren't you? You don't want to walk around the house and every time you know, oh, there's your ex. Like, so I think it's normal. I don't think it's bad. I think it's normal.
But speaking to what Auntie Sade said, like watching their love play out, that's the part, because I think I did reserve a modicum of, is this for real, for when I heard them get together, and it was also fairy tale and picture perfect. So I definitely thought, what's going on here? I don't know if I bought into it completely, but it was very beautiful. But it was a very picture perfect. So some of that, and that's not just for her, I think that's anyone, is putting your love or your life on display and having the world buy into it. And though it's not your fault necessarily, but if you are courting that attention on a kind of business contract brand tip, is there an element of responsibility to the people that get sucked into your world? And then you remove that. What do you know what I mean? There's an element of that, but again,
there's not an element of responsibility. Not as far as like your personal life goes in your relationship. No,
if it's contractual, if it wasn't,
you can't. Obviously they can't control people's reaction to how they feel about this, but they are under no obligation to say anything. Like it's not like they're. It's their prerogative at the end of the day, and I think there'll be more chapters in both of their lives. So, like, you know, it's like, watch this space, really.
Everyone's gonna watch who Michael Jordan goes out with next.
No, I know.
All right, let's get the comments if we've got any. Oh, did you want to go back to the court case?
No. It was just an aside.
Okay, cool. Any comments?
Okay, Ronald has a suggestion. The next game should be who's coming out in 2022.
No.
And then Nicola says she follows her dad's rule book, act like a lady.
Think like a man.
Interesting.
Have any of you read that?
Yeah.
No, but I've seen the film.
I love the film. It makes me laugh. I love watching it. It's quite funny. I wasn't mad at the book.
Yeah. What is? No, I haven't.
No, because I think I think people made a big deal about it, but people follow those rules. I mean, I literally memory recall. You know, that's my weak point. But the whole thing of like holding out to make sure the man's, you know, the right, that you lay down with the right man, or the man that values you. People make such a big deal about, because they make a big deal about women withholding the cookie from the man because it's mind game, it's tricks, it's trickery. But when you think about it, should I give my coochie to every single man just who pays me attention? And in the film, like with that particular line, that particular narrative, the guy was a player and she withheld her coochie. She made him get to know her on a personal tip. Then it turned a corner and they got together. So it kind of contradicted itself. So there are some kind of sexist, patriarchal kind of women should be this and that and the other, but there's some simple rules that apply, and actually not just about women, for men and women, to be a bit more considerate and listen to each other. It wasn't that deep, I don't think.
Was that the 90-day one? Like, you should hold off from sex for 90 days?
It was, some stupid, like...
it was a 90-day rule.
3 months, something like that. But it's like, you can put a number on it. It's up to you. I don't agree with the fact that if you sleep with someone the first night or the second year, whether that can potentially be damaging, but sometimes to protect our hearts. So sometimes from a woman's perspective, I know I've been in situations where maybe a man got more of me than he should at an earlier stage than he should before I knew more about him, where if I maybe held back. But it's not about, 90 days and that's it, he's going to be the perfect. Well, you just don't know, because men can play your shit.
I read the book and I followed it to a T, and that man was a fool. I made him wait 90 days. I did everything that book told me to do, and he was a fool at the end of the relationship. Right? So that book, I think is just, I don't know. I think it's with caution, right? Like there's some principles.
Yes.
But I followed the book to a T, and it didn't work out for me.
Was he like?
Yeah.
You know, like in Eddie Murphy's Raw, like this is going way back, but he does a thing of the woman tells the guy that he has to wait, yeah? So he's like, all right, I'll wait. Okay, I'll wait. And then I'll wait. And then I'll wait. And then when he eventually has sex with the girl, he says to the girl, you can shake your ass on out of here. And so the girl's like, what do you mean? We're in a relationship. Is it like one of those sort of ones where I think that some guys will definitely do that, because it's like, all right, you want me to wait? Okay, cool. There's definitely guys out there that will wait and then play you after.
I think what it showed was you can still make a guy wait 90 days, but if he's a fool, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it showed me. So even I could have sex with somebody on the first date, and he could be the most amazing man, the right characteristics, and could be my future husband. But I just felt like I made a mistake in terms of following that book, but not realizing actually a man is who he is at the end of the day. It doesn't matter whether you sleep with him on the first date or even after you're married, for example. That's what it told me.
Yeah, I think it had, like you said, it had principles. It had moments of like, oh, okay. And it, for me, it applies both to men and women, because you could actually both apply common sense to some of the stuff that's in there and figure it out together. I mean, whatever. Auntie Sade.
So my story is a bit more of a serious one, changing the mood a little bit, but basically in the UK, I think this incident happened on Chelsea Bridge, I believe, and basically this black man, I think he was like in his early 40s, he was what looked like to be maybe like a resisting arrest. I don't want to necessarily put a label on it, but he had a screwdriver in his hand and like he was being tased by the police. He was tased once and he dropped the screwdriver. Then he was tased again while he didn't have it in his hand. So but he was still, the police were still trying to arrest him. He manages to get up and then he runs across the bridge and jumps in the river. And unfortunately, when I think at hospital, he died. And this was filmed. And I think like the person that filmed it didn't really see it as like something like super serious at the time. Do you know what I mean? Because there's this little chuckle at the end and stuff. And sometimes you just see these crazy videos. But I just wanted to know, like, what do you think? Do you think that this is a case of like manslaughter from the police? Like, what do you think should happen here? Do you think it's and also because the laws have been relaxed on like who like how many police and how many, like I think it's special constables, volunteers or something, like can have tasers and stuff. Like, what do you think in light of that news as well?
This story made me so sad, and I think what it shows is, unfortunately, the police do not know how to de-escalate mental health situations. They are just really ill-equipped to deal with these situations. This should never have happened. And I saw that video and my heart just broke, because I think there's just so many factors involved. But the police officer was kind of sort of like antagonizing him a little bit, and he was kind of walking towards the bridge and he was following him. So because the police officer was following the man with the screwdriver, he was clearly having a mental health episode as he was following him and getting closer to the bridge. He then jumped. So I definitely feel that there's some accountability that should be had, because this was just really unacceptable. Like he's dead now when he really shouldn't have been. In terms of tasering him, it was just really all sort of just poorly executed. And I definitely feel that race did play a part, because when I saw the video, I couldn't see the race of the person, but I knew it was a black man. I knew it.
Yeah, I echo what you said. They just really don't know how to deal with mental health patients at all. I recently watched a documentary as well, and it was following the police, and the police, they turned up at a few different locations, and the people had mental health issues. And one of the officers was like, "We just don't know how to deal with this." And their go-to in this situation was to pin the people down, and then they were screaming at them, "You're resisting arrest! You're resisting arrest!" At which point the mental health patient is becoming more and more agitated because of the way that they're being treated, and they lash out. And at that point, the police get really quite violent and really quite annoyed and say that you're assaulting an officer. I'm going to arrest you for assaulting an officer. But it's because they just don't know how to deal with mental health patients. And then obviously when they go when they are arrested, then they go into prison, into the jail cells. Often what happens next is the outcome's not pretty good as well. I think what was interesting about this case is that it was filmed. It goes back to it being like in America. It's not that this stuff doesn't happen. It's just that it's not usually caught on tape. It just broke my heart because it was really sad. You could see that he was so distressed. He was rolling around on the floor. you know, that it could have been handled in a much better way. And my heart just goes out to him and his family, really.
Yeah, I'm just stuck at our version of arming more police, and not even like, well, I say properly trained. They do go through training, but special police constables, whatever they're called, special constables. So you have more kind of less trained people on the street with weapons, that are, though maybe not as harmful as a gun. Everyone's genetic makeup doesn't react the same way to a taser. So those electrical currents can have you have no idea what the outcome's going to be after getting tasered. And it is definitely that, as was said, police are just not trained to de-escalate. I mean, I'm sure they are trained to de-escalate, but there really isn't. I don't know. I'm not down at Hendon or wherever the place is. I don't know what it's like, but I don't feel like, from the cases that we see over here in America, that they're trained properly in the art of de-escalation. Like, man had a screwdriver. Okay, I'm not saying that, screwdrivers is obviously a deadly weapon and when used inappropriately, but I just don't get it why they can't find another way. And I know a taser is meant to be the lesser version of a gun, but it's still really super dangerous. So yeah, it's just saddening, and just another black man misunderstood, because we are disproportionately represented when it comes to mental health, and the lack of understanding and research of how life and trauma affects us differently, considering our history, is so under researched and under resolved that they just resort to, that's a violent, scary black person, so we've got to get them any way we can, and see we're just seen as mad animals. It's just upsetting, and it's always worrying, because you could just be literally having a moment and seen as a mental health wild person, and that's it. And it could imagine you just have a moment, because some people do have moments where life doesn't come all the way together, and you have a moment and then that's it, because the police do not have a clue on how to handle you. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have any words. It's nonsense to me, and very exactly to the family and loved ones of the young guy.
I watched a video unsuspecting. I didn't really get it just kind of flashed up, and I carried on watching it. And as I was watching, was totally like, oh, this is somebody having an episode. I think I've probably seen similar quite a few times in the train stations, where somebody's just looking manic, they're ranting, may not have a screwdriver, but they could have a really big bag or a bottle or something. And there is an element of fear where you are like, could this go out of hand? But I just felt that there needs to be another team that comes along when you get somewhere and you see this is what's taking place. Like, somebody is clearly in a manic episode, they're clearly in crisis. If you're not able to, all you need to do is keep them safe. So it is like, it's not approaching them and being aggressive, and it's just more like, how can we help you? It's really trying to calm the person down until the people that can really de-escalate it come along and take over the situation. I just felt that it was really hasty, and they treated him like he was super threatening, and I just didn't get that from the footage. It was just more like, you could probably talk this man into getting into a car if you just spent a bit of time. And it may take a while, and you may hold up the bridge, and people may have to wait, but this is somebody's life, somebody's child. He could be a father, a husband, we don't know. Like, all family members, like, just think that this is a precious life and we should try and preserve it. I think everything was super hasty. Like, we have to get this bridge cleared, and this man is an obstruction, taser him, get him in a vehicle, get him out of here. And it didn't happen like that. I really do think there has to be some punishment that takes place with these officers, because it wasn't managed well at all. And because you're in a situation with a lot of responsibility, you have to get punished when it goes wrong, because really they do have blood on their hands that could have been handled so differently. And sometimes it is. You see super scary people and they are able to somehow arrest them, even with knives and guns. And this guy had a screwdriver. And it's just like, nah, this isn't good enough at all.
No, I totally agree. I think it's just really interesting. We see it time and time again, like people who are not of, our community, they're able to be talked down and everything. And I really resonate with what you're saying, actually. I was listening to Stephen Bartlett, and he had Chris Ross, who's like some world-class negotiator. And it's just like, why can't they do that? If there's like a hostage situation, you get a negotiator and you get specialists in. So you could easily get in a mental health specialist. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's definitely something that should be looked at. And yeah, I think that these officers, they should be really up for a manslaughter charge, because at the end of the day, the guy, he dropped the weapon. They failed to restrain him properly at that moment in time, and they escalated the situation rather than de-escalating it. So that's their, failure. And like, being tased shouldn't end in death. Like, that's the basic. Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's supposed to be a preventative measure, but they just made it worse. So yeah, they're just, they're just rubbish. That's the police are just rubbish in this country. So yeah, it's just really, heartbreaking. Love to the family and stuff, and yeah, it's a lot.
What's the comment from Nee? I don't know. How long was you on the news?
It was like literally the length of a clip on YouTube, on Instagram. So like no longer than a minute or so. I would say maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
from them getting there and then it just being all, it was like you could have spent a good half an hour, an hour. Doesn't matter how long it takes.
Honestly,
you spend the time to clear the area and get him into a car safely and to a hospital.
That's it.
The only thing which is if there was any type of perspective from the police, if like teachers, the bureaucracy, the red tape, the paperwork, the pressure to arrest, the pressure to bring in numbers and get shit done to get onto the next thing, not to excuse their behavior, but the resources, because they're like the fact that you're withdrawing resources from all the services that we need, and then you're training special constables, so not real police, volunteer police, withdrawing resources. It doesn't make any sense. This is Boris's job, nonsense, and his homegirl Pretty. All the nonsense logic that they're applying to cutting our needs. There's an angle. I'm not a fan of the police in any type of way, but there could be a perspective that they're on, like, look, we need to get this thing because we're going to get this and that. The roads are going to be blocked. Then we're going to get complaints. Then we're going to get this and we're going to get written up. All that type of stuff. The pressures of the jobs, especially for those in the line of fire in duty roles, that's a real thing to acknowledge. But that doesn't excuse what they did.
To go back to Boris, the issue actually, he didn't start it, but he escalated it because he did actually lay off quite a few police officers and did up the special constable route as well. He did that with the police. He did that with the fire service. Almost all of our emergency services under Boris, when he was London mayor, was cut. So yeah, there probably is. It's not like Sadiq Khan is helping and adding to it, but Boris was at the helm of that as well.
Did you call him Silly Khan or was
Sadiq?
Oh, if we actually said Silly Khan, I was like, that's a good one. But yeah, again, we send love and prayers to the family and for this horrible time. My story, okay, do you know, I feel greedy. I want to do both, but just quickly, I'll try and squeeze. Just quickly, Jubilee. Did any of you take part in the Jubilee in any way, shape, or form? We had a bank holiday in the UK from Thursday till Sunday, honouring the Queen's reign over the Commonwealth for 70 freaking years. There's lots of stuff going on, street parties, there were concerts, there was a parade, like a mini carnival, if you like, for, down to Buckingham Palace and the Queen. They even had a freaking hologram, not Tupac, not Whitney, not BTS, of the Queen waving in her carriage. And you know what people did? They waved back. People were waving back to a hologram in her carriage, a hologram of the Queen. People waved and screamed at that. Did you guys partake in anything Jubilee? And actually, as a foreigner away from home, as we are, home away from home, what do you actually like about being from the UK, being British?
Who's a foreigner? What do you mean?
Saying, I mean, when this is not our actual roots and culture in our land. That's what I mean.
We're British born.
We're British, man. I don't know about you. Maybe you.
I got my passport. What are you talking
I'm
about?
British. I was born here. I'm a Londoner. All right.
All right, go ahead. You know what I mean.
I tell you what I did. I tell you what I partaked in. That's not a sentence. What I participated in over the Jubilee. I got on the Jubilee line. That's what I did.
Well done.
I rode the Jubilee line. That's what I did.
And that was it.
No, man. No, what the whole pomp and all that crap looked like to me was just 28 million being pissed up the wall. That's what that looked like to me, being set on fire. It just looked like that you got 14.5 million people starving in this country. There is not a location in Britain that doesn't have a food bank, but they spent 28 mil on this. Then they spent another X amount on a book that, I ain't seen the book that all the kids are supposed to get from my daughter. She ain't got the book. So, like, well, go on. If your kids got the book, no. So, what? We just got missed off there.
We got a cupcake.
Where? Through the post?
They did a Jubilee party at their school, and it was sponsored by the Jubilee Commission, and they gave the school lots of cupcakes, and we had a cupcake with the British flag on it. That's what a cupcake.
Did you smash it?
No, I ate it. Fuck that shit. I'm not smashing anything. Like, I'm gonna get what I can out of these fools. I didn't celebrate. The boys went with their grandma to a Jubilee party on my estate where I grew up. They were there with my mum, and they entered into a cake competition, and they baked 2 cakes, and my eldest came 4th and the youngest came 3rd. Ooh. And everybody on the estate ate the cakes, and they thoroughly enjoyed it, and they think that this moment in time is they absolutely loved the whole Jubilee thing. We did have a sit down once I went and got them from my mum. And I told them, remember what we say in this house, always bet on black. Can you see any black folk? And they were pointing at the artists, and I was like, it's good that they got paid, but don't think that these royals are anything to look up to. They're not black. And I was like, okay, mummy.
Yeah, I took my daughter to the British Museum actually on the Thursday, and we walked around and we looked at all the stolen artifacts. Exactly. And we spoke about it, and we talk about it, and that's what we did. It was that's
our Jubilee celebration, isn't it? It's showing them
the history, the true history
of people.
Basically,
the most I've done is on Monday. I just said, I hope you had a good Jubilee weekend. That was my celebration. Man, I don't care. I really didn't care at all. Like I even forgot. I was grateful for the 2 days off, but then I think we talked about this before. As a business owner, not really grateful as well, because it's just everything shut down, can't get nothing done. So there's that. It's just like a non-event. I'm just hoping that like these are the last days now. I really hope the monarchy is on its way out. Like I really do. I think like hopefully everyone can see how much of a fast this was. Actually, I did enjoy Miss Banks' performance with Duran Duran. That's probably the only clip that I saw that was just like, oh my God, that's a magical moment. But other than that, I just don't give a shit.
I didn't even see the clip of it. I just saw her in the outfit with the guy from Duran Duran, and I thought, oh, he's shorter than I thought.
Yeah.
Vanessa, did you have any Jubilee celebrations?
No, I feel a bit ashamed. Did nothing. I just made use of the extra 2 days, but I think it was just a good time just to have some time off, and just like chill. But I didn't necessarily do anything, I guess, Jubilee related. So thanks, Lizzie, for the 2 days. That's about it.
Yeah, so I definitely did nothing. I was at my mum's at some part of it, and she, bless her, is going to be 80 this year. So she has a different relationship with the monarchy, which we argue about constantly. But she was like, well, she had it on. And I was like, Mum, are we watching this? She goes, don't you start. We have our little mum and daughter bickers all the time. And she's like, if you don't like it, just get out. And I'm like, okay, Mum, let's watch it. So she had it on, the parade one. And she was really very, very impressed with the concert the night before. She was really good, and she was very happy that Diana Ross was last, and she was really like, it was fantastic. She was very impressed with the performances. She liked AJ Adudu, but she couldn't understand her. I said, Mum, she's from up north, that's why. So she had, commentary about that. She just enjoyed it. I mean, for that generation, it's a different type of relationship. So I allowed her, but I was annoyed that I always say, like, when I came home, my daughter was watching TV. I was like, is it on IT? Are we giving them ratings? I don't want to give nobody any ratings to add our numbers to their viewership. There were parties on the Sunday, everyone had their parties. So on my road, one of my roads is very Harry Potter and very posh. And there was set up for the Jubilee party. And I just wanted to tear everything down. And I just wanted to like throw the table over and be like a...
What? You wanted to tear it down?
The thing is, I know what she means. Like, I get annoyed with the flags and stuff.
Yeah, but then I had to be like, my rage isn't their rage, though. I can't, yes, you should be rageful, but also I get it, it's your country. So what can I do? You be proud, innit? But I kind of pointedly like cut my eye, no one cared, and then walked past with my face screwed up. They did not care, and and it goes to show who lives on that road, because everybody at the party was white. At least one of my mum's road, it was a multicultural affair, and there was a black gospel singer who did a little bit of singing when I was on my little trip to Whole Foods and back, and she did a little gospel song. I like the fact that Diana Ross was last on the performance, because that's the real queen, isn't it? So I'm glad that she was last.
Am I wrong for not wanting any Americans involved? I mean, I don't care what they were doing, but I just felt once I saw the highlights and there was Americans, I was a bit like, well, should you not just be highlighting the British artists? Like,
the Queen picks the music.
Yeah. Well,
so they say.
That's what they say to make her seem down with the kids.
Yeah, was she in her bed at this time?
But they must have given her this is
a hologram picture.
They're making out like they gave the Queen a track list, right? And she was like, from the track list, oh yes, I wanted Miss Alicia Keys to sing said song. That's what
Will and Kate sat down and said, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get Alicia.
They got their fame.
Will and Kate.
Alicia Keys. Why was Alicia Keys there?
They like, and her voice is and I've been an Alicia Keys fan, but right now the voice is straining,
I felt like
but she's always struggled, I feel.
And there was a moment when she could actually not
she wasn't doing the big notes, like the prolonged.
It's when
but she smokes.
Oh, does she?
I think like if there's been some like clips that I've seen, I only saw this recently where she was smoking weed on her private jet or whatever with her husband, and then I thought, no wonder she's burning up the weed and then it's messing up her throat.
I mean, fair.
She's not smoking the cess. She must be smoking the hard.
Yeah, because her throat is
what Marlboros? From the Marlboros, yeah.
The one thing that did annoy me, well, not the one thing, but one of the things that I didn't like was when when you're listening to the pundits and they're talking about the Queen and the Jubilee and all this stuff. What I really can't take is when they say 70 years of service. Fucking service. If you want to say her 70th years of reign, but don't say service. Like she's working in the shop, down the mines, or a teacher.
That is exactly how they talk about her.
Woman, service. It's not service.
They talk about her like she's a minor. Like her hands are tired. Like it's like what?
She's been doing it for 70 years. She has.
She's literally just lived.
That's my point. Like, my mum is 70. Okay, so celebrate my Marge. Like it's the same thing. If the Queen's gonna get 2 parties, 28 million spent on her for living and being the Queen for 70 years, then I think my mum should get something too. Like what nonsense? All she's done is stay alive.
Lulu was doing amazing. She was like, yes, and the Queen she's so like amazing that she's actually talking about her like literally. You're talking about like I'm describing you lot, like oh my gosh, Auntie Farah, Auntie Sade, Auntie Nana, they're so amazing. I know like intricate speaking for her. That's why I can't stand about pundits that create this whole narrative about something you don't know. You never even freaking met her. You never had a conversation. The most you might have said, hello, mom, and curtsied. But yet you can narrative about this person like you talk to them every day on the phone. She was like, yes, the Queen is so amazing. I mean, and she's so cool and so amazing for watching this and putting up with this and having all her family come down. And she brought us all together. No, she never. Event planners.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody,
Council. The council.
Spoken about Andrew and his sudden dally with COVID.
Yeah,
all of a sudden.
Positive test of COVID.
And all of a sudden.
I swear they do that for historical reasons. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they just need to, like, so it's written.
They do, absolutely.
So 50 years, it's like a different.
Yeah. Side note, completely side note. Did you not hear about the Queen's cousins who they reported as dead?
Yeah,
reported as dead.
The Queen had two cousins
dead. But I knew this.
Yeah, they reported them as dead, like in the 40s or something like that, and they secretly had them in mental institutions where no one visited them, and they only died in like 1986 and 2014.
Why did this story just come up again? Because I remember learning this when I was in school.
Because the peasants are revolting. The peasants are revolting. Like, fuck all this shit.
Peasants are revolting.
They ain't revolting to anywhere. The bare people were dancing in the streets, drinking in pubs, waving their flipping flags. Do flags make you nervous? I don't like seeing British flags around the place.
I can't lie.
You're absolutely right.
The King George one is worse for me. That makes me think you
really
the white and red one.
Yeah.
I don't
like them. But that makes me think you really truly love England, and you will knock me in my head.
It's funny because I feel the same way about both of them. I'm with you, Auntie Charlotte. And it's so bizarre because come Carnival or any excuse, I've got my Grenada flag up and I wave that loud and proud. But it's just like the British flag. It seems like it's like the Texas flag, isn't it?
That's what
the Confederate one. The Confederate flag.
Yeah.
It has those negative connotations to me. I don't know why, but it definitely fills me with unrest. And that's
what I'm saying. Because if you draw for the George Cross one, it's like someone drawing for the Confederate, because you're going into history to really grab onto that part of it. Anyway, let's get the comments.
Okay. All right. So Nicholas says, I was only vexed that Monday was not a bank holiday. Bank holiday too. Same. Nee says those same cupcakes were for sale in Sainsbury's.
Definitely.
T. Smith says, yes, Auntie Nana, accentuating the importance of your children's culture to them is the way.
Yep.
And Ronald says, what about that brat of a prince? Well,
oh yes,
the brat. I forgot about him.
Yes, I was going to say that made me laugh. Did you see how he's gripping up Kate's mouth?
Imagine! Oh God!
Listen, no behavior. No, let that be
Archibald.
That's what they all said. If that was Archie, it would have been like Meghan and her black DNA can't be controlled.
Yeah. The wild child.
What level of wildness is that with all of those people watching, like, you know, most kids would freeze and be like, oh my God, what's going on?
There's always going to be
there making faces, screaming.
She's a 4-year-old.
Reminds me of Courtney's kids.
Yes, they're wild. Courtney's
kids. Lets them do whatever. There's like, you don't
Kate's got no control in her yard. Kate don't handle them. She's got the maids to do that. And
they needed the nanny sitting next to him on the other side.
Yes,
brings him up.
That's why he was acting up, because he was like, "You're not my mother."
Yeah,
I think that's what he did when he
grabbed her lips. He literally grabbed her lips.
And she had to restrain herself. You know, she wanted to elbow him. My mum, oh my God, my mum's so rich. My mum is like, literally, why is he with? She's got no bottom. She's flat everywhere. My mum is so upset about Kate.
So is William upset about Kate too.
And that's what she says. So that's why he's always cheating. Listen, my mom's got stories for days. But yeah, and just as we're talking about, we didn't finish the comments, just talking about Will and Meghan, who had to dim their light to make sure that no one said
Harry, please.
Sorry, my bad. Meghan and Harry had to dim their lights, and no one could say that they were trying to steal the shine. But the headlines were all saying that she introduced the child, the Lilibet, to the grandma for the first time, and all that type of stuff. And they got cheers when they entered the building.
Piers still had something to say.
Piers is a punk.
He still had something to say.
What the hell did he say this time? What did he say?
Chatting shit about her and just you know, like,
you know the picture of her shushing
the child. She's telling the children to shush.
He said something about something like when the kids see Auntie Meghan, and it's like they're all scared. He just had to say something. He thrives off it. Everyone should ignore him. He thrives off the attention.
Yeah. But he was the same man that said, "I don't see anything wrong with spending 28 million on the Queen. That's what pomp and whatever it is, circumstance and glory and all that crap." He was quite happy.
Let's get the rest of the comments and move on, because mate.
Okay, sorry. All right, where did I get up to? Some more came in. Okay, so T. Smith says, my aunt was shocked at the appearance of Diana Ross. She described her as looking like a bag stuffed of potatoes. Oh, wow.
Queen Diana.
I thought she looked quite nice. T. Smith goes on to say, in it, Auntie Farah, I wish I could wave my hands around and get paid for life. Dream job that. Nicholas says, did any of you see Stacey Solomon on Loose Women? It was hysterical. She said, I don't get it. What is the big deal? And the other women were losing their minds.
I was going to say that.
That's an old clip.
Yeah.
Okay. It was definitely doing the rounds, and you know, rightly so.
T. Smith goes on to say the British flag equals NF, skinheads, KKK. That's what it conjures up in me. Is definitely NF and skinheads
and Millwall.
Yeah, all of that. Like, you know, in the 80s. Yeah, dodgy. And Gracious Greatness says, Wagwan to all the aunties them. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Hello, Gracious Greatness. And here we go. And then Gracious says, Piers think him high value. Yeah, I'm not even make, but I guess he doesn't even make Texco value. Piers is that was my best trying at an accent.
You tried, and then
I will be here again next week, and I will improve.
You tried and then translated.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to. Actually, it's a very important part of the show.
Oh, okay.
Hi guys. Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. So guys, I don't know if you've ever had a HelloFresh meal, but I'm tempted to get a HelloFresh meal because you know what? One thing I don't like, having to make decisions in the grocery store because it's hard and it's pressure.
I did HelloFresh for over a year. Yeah, because we were like, you know, when you just get into that rut of making the same things and then freezing it and just having the same meals. And then after a while, we stepped up a notch and we're just having takeaways like 3 or 4 times a week, which is crazy expensive. And actually, it was one of my friends, Melvin. He was working with HelloFresh, got his code, and I just stuck with it for over a year. And there was quite a few different types of bologneses because I love spaghetti bolognese. But there's like a Thai one, there's lamb, there's just so many different types of bologneses that they had. So I would always select that, and it's easy for the kids, simple. And I was probably like saving over £100 a week just following through with the HelloFresh. So it definitely was great. I enjoyed it, and now that they are sponsoring our show, I will join back up with them and tell you guys of all the recipes that we're working with as well.
So they have a bag of, I've never done it. So they have a bunch of recipes and you just pick which ones you want, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like on a Monday or Tuesday, depending on your delivery date that you said. I think I went for the Monday, and then you would just go through and say, like, we want mince, we want to follow this recipe plan, like the very Thai curry, Thai green curry, like all of that type of stuff. And then they'll send you the meats, they send you the pastas, and all of the spices. They send you over like more spices than you actually need. So by the end of you've just got lots of bags of spices.
And is the meat like all like chopped, like
proper fresh
and shit?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, obviously you're gonna clean it, but I mean, there's no like bird hair.
No, there's no stringy bits. There's no feathers.
Okay, cool. Like when you go to the butcher yourself and you're like, clean up my things.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
I'm glad you said.
idea of that.
I'm glad you said. Obviously, we're going to wash it because no, it's not.
Hello, I'm black. Just saying.
All right, guys. If you haven't used HelloFresh, please go to the website and speak to what meal looks best to you. Okay, fair enough. So go to the link in our show notes. We'll drop them in the show notes to get 50% off. That's right, 50% off your first box, and then 35% off your next 3 boxes. That's a link in our show notes for 50% off your first box and then 35% off your next 3 boxes. HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit. And now it's time for Aunties Get in Your Business. Aunties Get in Your Business. Aunties Get in Your Business. Oh, Aunties Get in Your Business. Aunties Get in Your Business. Aunties Get in Your Business.
Listen, can I just say something? Yeah. I was just getting to the point where it was not infuriating me as much, the Aunties Get in Your Business thing. But you don't need to do the ad-libs. Just keep it clean.
No, I do, because it's an evolution of song. It's an
bro.
remix.
Like if it was just one round of it.
That's it.
No, listen, don't dim my shine.
I think we can compromise on one round of it.
I think that's fair. Do you hear that? Compromise.
I'm not Meghan and Harry. I will not dim my light for any of you.
She was in white. There was no light dimming. Did you see her sachet through the?
Did you see the meme?
Listen,
that's right.
Yeah, grinning at everybody. Like there was no dimming of lights there. Like Meghan,
like Meghan, I ain't dimming my light. Anyway, we're welcoming the wonderful Ms. Vanessa. So actually, let me start. Okay, my young lady, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Oh, thanks for having me. My name is Vanessa Sanyauke, and I do a number of things. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Girls Talk London. So we're all about empowering women. We partner with businesses to help women level up in their careers. And I also am a podcaster. I have a podcast called the Afterwork Drinks Club, interviewing like business owners and professionals. And I've spent over 15 years in diversity and inclusion. So my background's working in corporate and trying to do my best to make it more diverse and inclusive. So that's me.
How would you describe your life right now at this very moment in one word or a sentence?
Madness. It's absolute madness. There's a lot going on. So today we just announced that we've opened up an office in Lagos, Nigeria. And that was that's been for us. Yeah, so it's been quite a lot. So we're growing our team right now, and there's just lots happening. So it's madness, but it's a very beautiful madness. I'm really grateful for it.
Wicked.
That's great. So can you tell us about why you started Girls Talk London? What made you do it?
So I started Girls Talk London. It was a side hustle. So I started it in 2013 when I was working in the financial services. And it was really because, one, I never saw women in senior roles. And I used to do a lot of work with young people in the community. And I just saw a lot of women and young girls just opting out of careers in banking. And I just thought, you know what, this is a really big issue because women are opting out of careers that are going to make them lots of money, that could change their lives. And so I started it originally. The name Girls Talk was I just brought some women that I knew that worked in the city to talk to secondary school girls about their careers. And so it started out as a quarterly event. And then we just grew and grew to do like more work with a lot of companies to help them get more women through the doors. And so that's how it all began.
Thank you. Okay, so focusing on women in business, as we are all business owners as well, what are some tips that you can offer women in business that we could use to kind of like improve and also compete with our male counterparts?
You know what? The biggest lesson that I've learned, and it's been a painful one, is around my pricing. I did not charge properly. And so the challenge I had now is having to tell my clients, actually, you've been having me for cheap for the past couple of years. And they're like, what? How come you're like quadrupling the price? And it's like, no, because I severely undercharged my services, like severely. When I had, one of my friends who's in business as well, he just looked at my prices and he was like, this is shocking. He was a man. And he was like, this is just shocking and, really bad. Like, you are severely undercharging. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have realized. So I think my advice would be to speak to, if you're running a business, try and speak to other people who are doing the same business as yours. Even if they are your competition, start speaking to your competition and start trading notes and seeing, especially what men, like male-led companies, are charging to benchmark yourself. Because I didn't do that. I just kind of thought what was right or what I felt I deserved, and I was so wrong. So that would be my number one tip, is to make sure that you get your prices right from the as early on as possible. Yeah,
super important. Thank you.
Very, very good tip. So you, my dear, have been recognised as an influential woman in business spaces for quite a while, and obviously that's a huge honour. But when you was growing up, when you was younger, who for you was the influential person?
I was obsessed with Oprah.
Oh yeah,
Winfrey, like absolutely obsessed with her. And like, I remember watching her show. I was 8 years old and I'd never seen a black woman on TV holding a microphone and being in charge. I'd never seen it. And so for me, that was like my inspiration, just seeing a black woman having her own show, being in charge, and then just following her career as I grew up and seeing how successful she was. That was a really big inspiration for me. It just showed me that it was just having that visible role model, like a really good, positive role model at such a young age, was really, it showed me that literally I could achieve what I wanted in life.
Yeah.
From a very young age. So that was really sort of who I admired growing up.
And what was you like when you was younger? What would you say?
Do you know, I always got the same thing on my school report. Vanessa's like a really lovely child, really conscientious was one of those key, buzzwords, but she talks too much. She's a distraction. She chats too much. She needs to stop talking because it's not going to get her anywhere. And that was my feedback. And it's quite funny now that I do a lot of public speaking and have a podcast and I talk a lot in my job. But that was my one thing. I was always chatty. I could not stop talking. And I was really annoying. As a child, I was always in adults' business. I was always in adult conversation. I thought I was too grown. And that was what I was like as a kid.
Oh. Fingers up to your teachers that said talking a lot's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, honey, look at me now. Definitely.
We'll bring it back to business. Your work takes you into the D&I diversity inclusion space. I'm super cynical of the power or lack thereof of people who work in D&I. How have you found it navigating these spaces? And do you not think that if businesses and industries wanted to change, they can do? And D&I departments are just supposed to appear like they care. I am very cynical about D&I.
And I am too, and I work in the space. And I think that's why I had to come out. So I'm more, because I've worked in-house for such a long time. I got exhausted last year and I thought, you know what, I'm tapping out. You can ask me for advice. I can try and work with you, but working in-house, it is a nightmare. And I think, you're right in terms of, I think with companies, a lot of them, they want the quick fix, right? The tick box, with the black squares and oh yes, we've signed up to this program, and oh yes, we're sponsoring this program. And when you try now work with them and say, oh, where's the data? So what are you actually doing to recruit more black people into your company? And then what are you doing to progress them? That's when things get silent. That's when it goes to, oh no, we haven't got the budget. And they don't want to invest in it. They want everything for cheap. So they want to sort of to run D&I programs, but pay 50p for them. They don't want to invest in them. And that's where a lot of D&I professionals get stuck. So I remember I was head of D&I at a law firm and my budget was just really like shit, basically. And I couldn't do anything. And then when we had the pandemic, the partners came for my budget, of course, because it was like, oh, you just did that D&I thing and CSR, and it's just, and that can just go. And literally, they cut my budget, and then I ended up actually leaving there and going to work somewhere else. But before then, they were actually gonna, like, I think they were gonna basically like furlough me as well, because they thought,
Wow.
you're just like, just absolutely like shit. D&I is just a waste of space. So I've seen it like in-house, in how a lot of companies, they want to have all the kind of glitz and glamour about saying that they're doing something, but don't want to invest. And so I'm very like, because I work a lot now in consultation, so I guess I'm on the outside. And I'm like, if you're not going to invest in it, don't come and work with me, because I'm just not about doing something just so that you can tick boxes. Really invest like your time. And it's also about resources as well. I think people forget that. You have like, because when I was working in-house in D&I, for example, so I worked for a global bank. We had 70,000 employees, and there were 3 specialists, and we were in 70 countries.
Wow.
And it was like,
wow.
So they did, but yeah, they were other departments that had like 20 people.
Wow.
We had 3. And then it was like, and we were all burnt out, and we're all like, I think most of us have left now, because it was like, are you actually serious about it? There's 3 of us, and you expect us to do all this work. So I hear you on that. There's such a long way to go.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so sorry, just on the back of that, if there is such a long way to go, because there are, I know a lot of people, Black people who are in D&I roles and either are jaded or are entering into it with like hopeful vim, hopefully that their light doesn't get dulled, as we've been talking about. So what are the either recognizable signs that the company's about it, or what things should a D&I person kind of push forward for, not take no for an answer on, to really help you? I know it might be a bit of a big question, but are there any tips or insights?
I would say a lot of people now I'm seeing think D&I is a sexy, I can be famous, I can have my name, associated with some kind of really cool thing. For me, I know that my purpose is D&I, and it's not a fun job. I wouldn't say it's a fun job. I wouldn't say if you want to have a good time, do D&I. It is not. It is so taxing, and it is so tiring, and it's exhausting. So unless you are literally see it as your vocation, don't do D&I. Go and become a banker or an engineer. So I would say what you have to look out for is one, budget. Like, so I coach a lot of professionals who want to get into D&I, and I say in your interview, the first question you should ask is, what is the budget? And make sure it is like substantial for the size of the organization. Look at what their profits were, and per year, and make sure you can actually do something with it. So I think that's really key. And I think also it's how bought in is the CEO. So I feel that when D&I reports to like HR, it's just really flimsy and nothing really gets done. So I feel like if a company is really about D&I, that function would report directly to the CEO. Sorry, someone said, what D&I, diversity and inclusion. If it reports to the CEO, then I think that's really, it shows that company is taking it really serious, because it's at that senior board level and the CEO is taking ownership. So I'd say those few things as well are really, really important. Otherwise, if you don't have the budget and you don't have this backing and the like ear of the CEO, nothing will change at all. So I would just say those 2 things.
I think that makes total sense. Sorry.
I have an additional question to that, just popped in my mind. I've always wanted to ask somebody about this. Most people that I know that work in diversity and inclusion are Black.
Yeah.
And it's always struck me, like, why is it, and it's usually Black women, why is this like Black labor? And should there not be white people on the team fostering it? Because usually you're working against some form of white pathology or within their white supremacy. This generally, and it's always like, why is it Black people doing it? If you have any, I just always wanted to ask somebody that.
Yeah, because just aside to what Nana said, we had a discussion previously, and we were saying that if it's going to work, maybe at the top of it should be like an Anglo-Saxon middle-aged man.
Well, this is why I said the CEO. So most of the CEOs are white men. So if you have a white man backing you, you're good to go. So that's why I think it's important for it to report to the CEO. But I would say a lot of D&I heads are not just black women, but they are people from marginalized communities. So in my space, a lot of my colleagues are, you know, white gay males, for example, or maybe Asian women,
yes,
you know, disabled individuals. So those that really kind of are part of those communities. And you're right. So it's just one of those things, I think, because we're truly kind of passionate about it, because we understand firsthand the experiences. And I think it kind of works better because at least you really know firsthand what barriers are faced. So I feel like I don't necessarily want like lots of straight white men working in D&I. I just want them to cut the check, stop misbehaving, and let us through. I think that's what we want. Yeah.
You brought up something really interesting earlier on when you said, you know, when you started your business, you were undervaluing your fee. And I think as women in business, whether you have your own company and you're charging stuff, or whether you're going for roles and you're asking for, you know, salaries, we always have issues with, you know, asking for the right amount of money. You know, you'll get a man and the man will be like, I want £100,000. But one will be like, maybe you could give me 50. Maybe.
I know. Do it all the time.
Yeah. What are the things that you what would you suggest to women in order to help us get past that?
Oh my God. So I coach women on this, like negotiating pay, and I'm literally almost have to bully women to like go through it. And I think the important thing is you have to do your research. So really find out, like, in terms of your industry, what is the kind of highest salary and what is the kind of average salary. And I always say, like, go in at least like 2/3 than what you want. So even ask for double with what you want, because then they'll come down. So I always say, think about what the average salary is. If the average salary, so for example, is maybe like 60K, ask for 100, you know, and then they will come down to maybe like 70 or 80K. And I think it's all about understanding what your worth is as well. So really getting clear on what value you bring to the company. So if you've got qualifications, if you've got experience, and say, well, actually, I want this because this is the experience that I bring. And you're right. You know, a straight white male friend of mine, who was at the time, he was working as a head of D&I in another law firm, coached me in my negotiations. And so it's kind of crazy. He was like, this is how I think as a white man. Like, I just go in there and I just ask and I don't care. And I behave like him, and literally I got, you know, what I wanted. So I think we need to start thinking like straight white men. They don't care. They will ask for a ridiculous, like, even some of them will ask for like £150,000, and maybe the advertised salary is 50. They don't care because they're like, well, you know, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So I just think we feel guilty, and they're not going to say no. I always say, leave the negotiations until after you've been given the offer, because nobody wants to now go back into the pool and do interviews again and put the job advert out. So if they've offered you the role, just ask for a ridiculous number, and then the most they'll say is, look, we can kind of try and come down. I think it's better than having to try and negotiate up. It's easier to negotiate down. So that's what I always say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant advice. Thank you.
That was great. And you do a lot. So I'm thinking, like, because you're juggling so much, how do you center yourself? Like, where do you find peace? And I think that's so important, especially as you coach people as well. Like, how do you gather yourself together?
You know what, I have to say, I'm a work in progress. So there are some weeks where it's going well, and there are some weeks where it's not. But what I try and do is have at least, you know, Sundays is like my kind of regroup and wellness. So I kind of make sure that I have like at least one day for myself. But what I've really got into recently is my morning routine, and being really strict in that, and having it as a ritual. So I, you know, wake up, I sort of will light candles or aromatherapy, I journal, I pray, like listen to music, have my coffee, just do things that bring me joy, and make sure I do that like every morning. So one thing I'm good at is my morning routine, and that helps like center me as well. And also my friend actually told me this really kind of weird thing. When she's having like a really shit week, she has a bath in the middle of the day. And I tried that recently, and that is the one, like bath, you know, the oils, everything. When you're having like if you're working from home, she was like, just have a bath in the middle of the day and actually work. So I kind of just try and find little quirky things like that to try and just get back to myself. But it is hard. You can't get it right. But I think trying to have some kind of routine is really important.
That speaks to me. Do the bath, salt bath.
Yeah, Epsom salt. Yes, just giving them all the toxins and bad vibes.
It's a good one.
I'm glad you said if you're working from home, because can you imagine you're at work?
Yeah, I thought that too.
Someone comes into the kitchen and you're in the sink.
Exactly. Or some people might now be saying at their new workplace, we want bathtubs now. We want bathtubs to have bath during the day.
I literally had that vision.
So like speaking of like being in the workplace and stuff, like the look of women in business has always been challenged in our opinion. So whether it's like whether you're wearing heels or not, or like whether you wear like a black woman, like wearing your natural hair and stuff, like how would you describe your look first of all, and have you had any issues with regards to it?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so funny because I'm going into the office tomorrow, and me, I literally, I don't dress like what I would think a typical, I guess, CEO dresses. And I think I've kind of now come into myself. So I'm like a tracksuit girl and and Air Jordans and Converse and jeans. And that's how I am. So I was just like, I was even like trying to plan my day for tomorrow. And I was like, and I got this new tracksuit, and I've got a meeting with like an advisor, and I was like, do I rock the tracksuit or do I wear the jeans? And is he gonna think? But I have to just be myself. So that is how I am. And I go into the office with my team now. I'm always in a tracksuit or trainers if I haven't like got like an event to go to. If I want to try and make an effort, quote unquote, then you might see me in jeans and some heels and a t-shirt and a blazer. That's my kind of style. But I'm very casual, and that's how I've always been. And I had issues like working in the financial services. When I was in my 20s, I was working in banking, and I used to get like just so many like people used to laugh at me because I'd have different wigs. And so I'd come in and have like a short blonde wig, and because I was at that age of trying to experiment, and it really was quite traumatic, like having people laugh at you and snigger at you because you come in with a different wig, or I'd maybe sort of wear like a skirt that was maybe like a vinyl or some kind of, like being trying to be trendy. And I think that was always quite tough. I'd had sort of those barriers being a black woman, and you're trying to sort of maybe just change up your weave here and now and then, and people sort of looking at you funny. And I've also had, again, in the corporate space, being looked down upon by wearing braids. I remember I had this interview once, and I thought to myself, should I have my braids down or should I put it up? And I thought, let me put my braids down. But I kind of thought the woman won't like me because I've got my braids down. And I kind of got feedback about, there's just something that they're not really sure about you and your fit. And I was like, I knew it. So I've had those barriers about if you have your braids down, I thought, I bet she'll think I'm like untidy. Well, if I had them up. So it's all those barriers I've experienced, sadly. And so I think we've kind of got a bit better, but there is still that stigma about braids, cornrows, I remember I used to work at Parliament, and we had like dress down Fridays, and I wore jeans with like, with a little slit in the middle. And I got pulled to the side. Like, there's been complaints from some people.
What?
And some people here, your jeans really messy.
You know it wasn't that you were messy, it's because some freaking dirty old man couldn't contain himself.
Exactly.
Sexually aroused by knees.
Exactly. I've had that, and I was like, but my jeans were like, and there was literally like, the ripped jeans, but just at the knees, just a little bit of a rip. And so I didn't think, we have dress down Fridays because Parliament is in recess. And I got complaints, that you just, from MPs and
it's
people.
Dress down Friday. You should be able to come in hot pants and a bra if you want.
Exactly. But I'm the mess, but you MPs are doing anyway. Let's
not after you've got a torture room in the dungeons.
Exactly. After you're doing all your madness. I was the mess. So I've really had a really, I guess I would call it traumatic journey, in terms of just like me being comfortable and being who I am. Even like I said to you today, I was debating what do I wear because I'm meeting someone. So it's never ending. Yeah, never ending.
Right. Okay, so Wow. Wow. What's the end goal for you? What will it take to be like, yep, I've done what I came to do? Sayonara.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still about the change because I'm not seeing it. So once I can see some significant change in the work that I'm doing, that's when I feel like, you know what, I can now just take a step back, have my kids and my family. But I think for me, success as I've gotten older, it's not necessarily about, I guess, like material things. I definitely want to have like a family. I want to leave a legacy in terms of like humans. And so that's kind of like when I feel like, yeah, like I've kind of been successful when I've got my kind of legacy and my kids and my family. That's a big like goal for me.
Haha, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Haha, you're on mute.
I was like, what's
I was like, thank you
You
so
look like
much.
you were singing, that's why.
There was all the hand movements.
I actually wasn't singing. I was actually saying thank you, that was wonderful. And now it's the time
you.
you're at the party, and you know when your favorite aunties have surrounded you in the kitchen and they're about to get deeper into your business. This is the quick fire. Get to know you. We're gonna get all thing. You can't lie to us. So you got to tell us everything.
I feel very much at home. So yes, I'm ready.
So we're coming to you now.
Cool.
Go.
I'm gonna get my best auntie on. Vanessa.
Yes, auntie.
When you making child, when you husband, when you making child. No, but seriously, like, what's your relationship status?
Just over it. Over it. Like, that for me, I don't know. There's not enough time, aunties, to deal with me. I think my own like blood aunties, they're fin with me. They are fin with me. It's one of the areas where business is great, but my love life has been a disaster. But so I'm single right now. I don't have kids. I really do want kids, but I'm single right now. And I am like ready to date. But I think because I did this thing last year where I had therapy like every week for like a year. And that really helped me think about the choices that I've made in the past. And so I feel like I've done the inner work now myself. And I feel like now I can make better choices. But the issue I have, aunties, is where the heck are the men?
Please.
Like, where are they? And I'm talking about in real life.
Yeah,
IRL, not URL online. IRL. Where are the men in real life? They don't talk to me. I don't see them. How?
Auntie Nana's holding them all hostage because she reckons there's a bag of them out there.
Listen, this is the part where the aunties take a deep gulp of their drinks and say, moving on.
Okay. All right. Okay. So how many kids do you actually want though? Let's create the scenario to put it into the ether so that the universe gives you what you're after. How many children do you want?
I think I'm getting to the point where I really wanted 4, but I think age-wise, if I have 2, I'd be happy.
Okay, we want 2 children.
Yeah.
What's the ideal setup? Boy, girl, boys, girls. What are you after?
3 girls, 1 boy.
Ooh,
I'm a girl's girl. I just want 1 boy, 3 girls.
Listen, we're getting the universe to do it. There we go.
Let's throw in your ideal man. Let's throw that in. And the man, what type of man do you want?
Do you know what? And I don't mean this in disrespect, but I used to go for personality. Those days are over. I really want a really good-looking man. Yes! I think I deserve it. Like, I want him to be gorgeous, tall, just fit, and tall, fit, like sexy, and just that. So looks wise, I really want a fit man. But then, like in terms of character,
looks wise. Give us a celebrity or someone. What's your type?
I love like Anthony Joshua kind of tall, muscular. But I also have my celebrity crush is Woody McCain. He plays Kane in Power.
Oh my God!
2.
I know, yeah, okay.
He is fine. Like I am in love with him.
Yeah.
So he's Woody McCain. I'm telling you,
he played Bobby Brown.
Yes, yeah. I just the chocolate is chocolate.
Oh, yeah, I know who.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have. Does he have to be tall? Does he have to be tall?
Please. At least taller than me.
What's the
So
height?
I'm 5'6", as long as you're taller than me, so like 6 foot I would like.
Okay.
You want to be able to snuggle in his armpit, right?
Yeah. So
McLean, Anthony Joshua Bill, tall.
Yeah.
He's got and her personality, by the way.
No, character-wise, I want him to be like very ambitious. So like someone that's got, you know, a few things going, that is very entrepreneurial, family orientated, and also secure. I need a secure man that is secure in himself and doesn't mind like a little bit of an alpha female. Just a little bit.
Oh, so
yes.
You don't watch Kevin.
Are you prepared to submit?
No.
Kevin, what if you're
submit an invoice?
Sorry, Auntie Hannah, are you submitting? Like you asked other people in reverse.
I like submit an invoice.
I'm just putting it out to the universe so that the universe can send the.
Do you know what?
Person. So
I would, if I was to get married, I think you should submit to each other. And I think if you feel like if you respect your husband and he respects you, you both submit to each other. I'm not going to submit to someone who's my boyfriend and who I don't respect. So if it's the right man, I would submit.
Compromise is
I love this.
Yeah.
We're getting very specific. This is great. The universe is like going like,
Listen,
okay, here we go. We're going to send them through.
Aunties are going to be
And if it happens, you got invited to the wedding.
Well, of course.
Invite us to the wedding, and then hopefully this magical human being is going to have magical brothers. Like
that's the plan.
The magical brothers that want a magical man.
That's the plan.
Our script, but magically. All right, next one.
So talking about like aunties and stuff, like what kind of auntie are you? And if you're not an auntie already, what kind of auntie would you be?
I'm an auntie to lots of lovely nieces and nephews, and I'm kind of like the single fly auntie. So I just come in, I drink, do you know what I mean? I'm not cooking in the kitchen. I'm just hanging out, looking fly, and then I go to my apartment and live my best life. So that's kind of like the auntie that I am.
All right, we're getting closer. Yeah, listen. Tell us your favorite auntie, something you haven't told your mum or your dad. Basically, tell us a secret that you haven't told anybody. We want to know now.
Oh my gosh, a secret.
Yes, niece.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I don't actually think my mum knows this. And and it's so funny because I'm sure she might have guessed. I used to sneak out when I was a teenager. But we've never had this conversation. I used to sneak out. We had to study in our house, and it was at the bottom. And I used to sneak out that window, go raving with my friends, go see my boyfriend, and come back through that window, close it, and go to my bed. Wow,
I loved it. Well done.
And I've never told my parents this, so I don't know if they know.
And you absolutely never got caught. That's amazing.
No, never. Because I used to leave the window because it was the old kind of back in the day. The window would open wide, so I used to leave it shut just a little bit. So I'll push in, come through, shut the window.
When you have kids, they're not going to be able to do anything because you're going to know. You'll be like, look, I've done it and got away with it. You are never going to beat me.
There'll be bars on the windows.
They will literally need bars and alarm. Literally, I was raving it up at my boyfriend's. Yeah, they don't know.
They do now.
But they listen to this, and my mum listens to everything that I'm on. So sorry, mum. I came out fire.
Auntie Vanessa's mum, it's all right. She's going to redeem herself now.
Have a drink, it's fine. Have a drink.
You're going to redeem yourself because we want you to tell us something that makes one of the great things that you've done, some of the great things that you've done that you're really, really proud of.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm most proud of my business that I set up because of what we're doing. So I'm just really proud of when I hear stories about young girls who we've helped get jobs, women that have been able to negotiate a really good salary or get jobs because of our coaching and our programs. I think that's the thing that I'm really most proud of, just what I've been able to build and what I'm going to continue to build with my company. So I think that would be the most, my proudest moment, I'd say, or proudest thing.
See, Auntie Vanessa's mum, she redeemed herself.
Yeah, I have.
And also, like, is there like a family saying that you have in your family that you really hold dear, or a saying that you wholly reject that you're not gonna pass on to your kids?
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like, my aunties used to say Vascana all the time, which means girls. Vascana, girls, like as in girls, come into the kitchen, sweep the kitchen floor, girls, cook. Like basically kind of like really, not that they meant anything bad, but because I think culturally, aunties back in the day, older generations, the girls should be in the kitchen cooking. Mm-hmm. And so she would always call us like girls. We'd always be like, oh my God, I hate that saying. So even when I hear the word Vascana, I just feel like, oh, I hate it. So I think I wouldn't necessarily make my daughters do like typical household chores. I'm going to make sure that my sons know how to clean a house and cook and, and all those things. So I think I wouldn't keep that tradition. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And now is the time where you can let us solve a problem for you. So do you have an issue we can help you solve, or like a dilemma or anything like that? Or if not, we can give you some unsolicited auntie advice. But who's that your I
do. I said at the beginning, listen, where can I find a man? Like literally, that is one personal issue I need help with. Because I'm ready to mate. But there's no mates.
Yeah. That's the one question we might not be able to give you the answer.
No, I legit think that if you really want a man, you have to treat it like a job. So you have to treat it like one of your projects, one of your businesses and stuff. And really like put yourself out there and almost do like a bit of a project plan and say, these are the places I'm going to go. I'm going to go out X amount times a week. I'm going to be, depending on how confident and forward you are, whether you're going to approach people or not. If you're not going to approach people, you have to look welcoming and warm so people approach you. Don't go out in groups more than 3. Go out with women that look similar to you.
I think that you need to write a book.
She is like singing from my hymn sheet at this moment. I'm overly surprised what is coming out of, because I'm like,
I just choose not
all of the things.
I would say, but the thing is, she's always known, but just chooses.
She just chooses not to. But I do think that you need to write this down.
I'm like,
we'll put it on our page.
It is.
Like all the women that I know that are really focused and really serious, they really treat it like a job, and they focus and they put time, and they also put like deadlines as well, kind of thing. So they're like, I want to meet someone like for a serious relationship in like 6 months or 9 months or 12 months. Do you know what I mean? So it's just you really have to focus. You can't literally be like, oh yeah, I really want to meet someone but not go out, or not obviously now we're in a digital world, like not post on social, like not be commenting, like, do you know what I mean? You have to kind of show up where men are really and truly. So that's places in real life and digitally as well.
Would you go online though? Would you go online?
I'm so over online. I'm so over it. There's too many men who are married on there as well. I've had so many horror stories from my friends. I'm like, no, I don't want to chance it. But I've just had a bad experience.
It is an energy thing.
Actually, for a matching service, would you actually pay?
I did pay. And literally, it was such a waste of money. So I don't
really,
like I paid a lot, and it was just like I didn't get any like really kind of good potential matches. So I don't know. That's why I'm like,
sorry. Was it?
It was this app that was like designed to act like a matchmaker, and you spent like a lot of money on it. And they looked at like your profile and kind of would send you like suggestions like every day, and it was just awful. Like some of the suggestions.
No, I'm thinking
I know somebody did that.
I'm thinking more of a person, like actually going to somebody who has a proven track record, is a really good matchmaker. I have a couple of friends who have had success that way. More friends have had success through Match.com. Probably I think I'm on 4 friends now who have got married. But definitely everything Auntie Sade said, They went out. One of them, we actually did a whole show premise on getting married. It was called Yomo, and it was like the manifestation of I'm going to create a show that is about me journeying to get married. And we did the pilot, and through that, it's like she carried on the dating thing. Maybe 7 months after we did that pilot, she met her now husband and she has a child. But she absolutely was so intentional that I am going to get married within 2 years and have a child and just put everything in place. You know, you set up your dating thing. She would go on dates. We would be there, like the girls were there so that she's being safe. Everybody was conspiring to her having this dream happen. And it happened quite quickly. I think there is a lot of like, if you say it, it's going to happen because that's what the universe does. But so it's going to happen for you. It absolutely is. But please just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So I love that you even said it, because I really think lots of women now don't actually say, like, I actually want a mate. I want to have this life. Loads of people hold back from that, so it doesn't take place. So I know it's going to happen for you. I give it 2 years at the most.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you.
There you go. All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa. That was wonderful. Should we get some comments? Are there any quick comments, or we can move on to Sad Mad Glad?
Okay. We have gracious greatness. Oh, Farah, can you do this one, please? Because it's in an accent, and you'll do it better than me.
Wait, which one?
Gracious greatness.
Oh, but it's Jamaican. He's Jamaican. See, I can't. I'm going to do it in Grenadian because I can't do a Jamaican accent.
Okay.
You need to go to the pressure. I can't do it. Oh my God, it's throwing me. The pressure. Right. She is saying, you need to go to the posh environment where them kind of man frequent, like golf, proper hotel, top establishment. Them places there is where you go find man. Right.
Thank you. Noted.
All right, let's reflect on what's made us sad, mad, and glad this week. Auntie Vanessa, what's made you sad, mad, and glad?
You know what? I was thinking about this, and I put the sad. What made me sad was the bridge story with the man that lost his life. But I think that was sad. My mad was just this whole Boris Johnson. What's going on in the UK? I think is just really like frustrating me in terms of the Prime Minister, what he's doing, the economy, everything. It's just all doom and gloom, and the weather. And has made me mad. What's made me glad is the fact that I don't have to work in a toxic environment anymore, and that I work for myself. Like, I just had this realization this week that, oh my God, thank God I'm not in those toxic workplaces no more. So I'm very glad to be working for myself.
Nice. Okay, so I thought I'd put mine in. Anyway, what's made me sad was all the shooting. There's been a bunch of shootings and deaths in America. There's been some it's just the heightened sense of franticness in America is weird right now, and it's a bit sad. Not a bit, it's very sad that people are losing their lives. There's been hospital shootings, gang shootings, street shootings, artists have been killed. Over here, we lost 2 people in the public eye as well, 2 Black men in different various situations. So it's just a little bit too much death, and maybe unnecessary death is what I mean. So that's made me a bit sad. Mad at the Jubilee, because come on. And also mad, my daughter tried to mess with her life. She got really bad hay fever. Her medicine, she lost her medicine that she takes, so it's been building up. I think the pollen's been heavy this week or this past month, and she didn't have an asthma pump. Now this is adulting, people. Usually I'm in control of that shit, but now she's an adult. I let her get on with it, but she made me mad because she's coughing and wheezing and like, I can't breathe, mum. Where's your asthma pump? It's expired. Where's the backup? I don't know. So I buried her, made her call 111. Sent her to the 24-hour chemical. It was late at night. She made me so vexed because obviously, if you have asthma, you can't take for granted which asthma attack could be to the worst case scenario.
It's very serious.
Fatal. So I was like, I was so fuming. Like, don't mess about. So yeah, I had a very mad moment of my daughter. Don't mess with your life over nonsense. Be an adult and have your backup. Get your regular prescriptions and stop being a child. but then she's also my baby girl because But anyway, and then I'm glad that I finished The Shield, as I said. I was actually very, very, very happy. It's a bloody good show, man. But yeah, that's it. I think there was something else I forgot, but anyway. Auntie Farah, what's made you sad, bad and glad?
I was sad at the mass shootings as well. There's mass shooting in Nigeria as well,
Yes,
which made me really, really sad. And just the constant mass shootings that are happening almost every day in America as well. So that's making me sad. I was also sad that my week of work free came to an end on Monday and I had to go back to work. I had, a whole lovely week after my birthday and the bank holiday and the days before, and that was nice. And then I went back to work, which was actually really glad. It's been great actually going back to work, so that's kind of like a good thing. But anyway, I was a bit sad about that. I'm mad at the 28 million that was spent on the Jubilee, and that's just one of the figures. There are so many figures that I can quote, but it just made me really mad when there are people struggling to eat a meal or heat their homes or just basic things. So I'm fucking mad that that's what they spent and they think it's justified. I'm really super glad at fellow Grenadian Axel Blake.
Yeah.
Technically, if you convert it, he's now a millionaire in Grenada. So yeah, it's fantastic news.
Auntie Nana, what's made you sad, bad and glad?
Definitely echoing all of the deaths of late. It's been quite a lot, but the pictures that came from the church in Nigeria did actually set me off, and I had a little crying spell just seeing all the blood and everything. And I kind of wish they didn't show things like that. I don't know. It sets me off. It just makes it so real, and they seem to just do that with Black Death way too much. We see the aftermath of it, and yeah, it really hurts my soul. So that was really, really sad. And then my mad is me and Auntie Sade went on to a podcast.
Yes, we did.
The Just Pearly Things show, and it's on YouTube, and our show is on there. You'll see us because we're kind of in the thumbnail as well of some of the clips. But as well, I enjoyed debating. Like, I love that shit. So I enjoyed debating with these crazy red pill people, but there's really like a dark side of that community. And while we was there, there was a girl that was on the panel with us who is probably a new member to the red pill community. So she's looking for a man. She has a man. She's super insecure. And one of the men who believes that all high value men cheat just kind of had a moment with her where he was interviewing her. And I felt super uncomfortable. It was very manipulative. And I hadn't seen something like that take place in front of my eyes, probably since university, when you get like somebody that's quite vulnerable and men can kind of pounce on it. And you, sitting there watching it take place, I had chills everywhere. Like, this guy is such a little devil. So many points I wanted to knock his head. Like, I was fuming, but being very reserved, that I'm holding it together as being like a representative of the mature Black community and not acting out. So I came back at him, but watching it again, it took me back there. And I was like, I actually wish I had thrown my drink at him. I was more like, I wish I had done something more dramatic. We were also live streaming on YouTube, but watching it back, I was like, I wish I had done something more, because I was really, really infuriated by what was taking place in front of me. So that made me mad watching it back. But if
maybe we can talk about it in the Patreon show. But like, I have a theory about the girl, because I had similar feelings.
Okay,
we had similar feelings, but maybe we can discuss.
Let's discuss it on Patreon. So if you want to find out what we're talking about, join us on Patreon as well. Yeah, it's an interesting one to go down that road. I'm glad we are heading into we have started the marathon of my family, the Evans family Gemini birthdays. So I want to say a big happy belated birthday to my husband. His birthday was on Saturday. My firstborn son, his birthday is on Thursday. And my sister-in-law's birthday is today. So happy birthday, Glenys. And birthday will be on Sunday. This is a very expensive week. It bankrupts us every year, but we are Geminis all together, and we're a special breed.
Okay.
Hell to the hell, yeah.
Auntie Shade, quickly. What's the sad?
Your husband, what do you call it, is related to my friend. I didn't realize until I saw it posted today, but we can talk about that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's just met. But yeah, my sad is the church shooting in Nigeria. It's just awful. I will say though, it is typical. Those imagery are typical. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that happens all the time. It's just a different level of desensitization. I think mad. You know what? I am mad at. I wish I saved it. I saw this post on Instagram where someone was trying to say, because of the Amber Heard trial, now Black women are going to be set back. Sorry? Like, I'm just like, what has this got to do with us?
Too much content for the Patreon episode. What?
It was just like, what the hell is this? It really made me mad. And then I'm glad for a few things. I can't lie. I've been pretty happy. I've been happy about Nella Rose with her collaboration and Pretty Things. Really happy about her. I'm happy that Love Island is finally back. Oh my God. I'm so excited. And I'm happy because my client Black Tech Fest, they've announced that the event's happening this week. So I'm very happy that's taking place in October. And I'm happy that I found an old clip from a show that I was on when I was younger called Street Mate, which was hella funny. So,
I just say that also made me happy. Yeah. Oh my God, that was
amazing.
I will put the clip up in our stories, so head over to our Instagram and you'll see the clip, and you can also find it it's on 4OD, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will put all of that in the description. Just head over to our Instagram. Give me a couple of hours because we're going to do Patreon content. But head over there, and there'll be a link to it as well.
I want to make a GIF out of. There's a special bit in it that I need to make a GIF out of. So when people are annoying me, I can just send it to them. It's like Auntie Sade's face. It's the best thing ever. Seriously.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, we got any comments before we have to go? And we are jumping into our very special extra Patreon episode. So if you subscribe, you'll get to know what we're going to talk about.
Nicola has actually, let me just big up Aunt Farah. So Gracious Greatness says, I love the aunties and your Grenadian accent. So big up to you. Nicola says, sad for the ish weather, mad for the ish weather. Glad that the aunties gave me an extra episode on Patreon.
Yay!
Big love to you, Nicola. Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon for 2 months in a row. There's a couple of other people. Next week, I definitely will have all of your names. But thank you very much for supporting us. And hopefully you'll start seeing the fruits of coming on board with us. And we'll change up our scenery soon. She also says, can you discuss Monique and DL on Patreon too?
We sure will.
We will do that for you. And Gracious Greatness says, yeah, the Niger thing is vexing. T. Smith says, happy birthday to your fam and your siblings, Auntie Nana. Thank you so much for that as well.
Okay, ladies. First of all, thank you to our one. Oh, no. Well, yes. We've still got a few bits. Whoa, our show is long, ain't it? Okay, so our Spotify playlist. Auntie Nans, what have we got this week?
Oh, yes. All right. So the Spotify playlist this week, the theme is British black tunes with a middle finger to the establishment. Auntie AK, can you take it away with your list, please? Your free tunes.
My tunes are the Mitchell Brothers, Routine Check. I didn't check this route to be checked. It's an old school hip hop British tune. Kano, Mitchell Brothers, and The Streets. It's a classic describing the perils of being a black youth getting routine checked by the police. Scott Garcia, for those who like house, maybe garage house. It's a London thing, obviously, very, very literal. And Chung Family, again, from my days of working at Channel U. Chung Family, Memory Lane, bust down Memory Lane. It's like one of those summer tunes that capture like what it's like to be in London in the summer. It's a real cool tune from the early noughties, and that just makes me think of British blackness and middle finger to the establishment, mate.
Okay, Auntie Farah, can you give us your rundown, please?
So,
Are you ready?
I have one. I have
Okay.
one, and that is a track called "Go" by Kat Burns, and basically it's about her like this catching out a liar, basically. So just like go away, fuck off, basically.
I'm glad you have one because I have 4, and I've also gone off track. I didn't do British black people. I did
Lord.
black people in the British colonies. You know them way there.
Very specific. Go
Black
on.
people in the British colonies. Anyway, so I said Taurus Riley, she's royal. And then I said Bob Marley, Exodus. Because we have to exodus from these people. Movement of Jack people, you know them way there. And then I did Sizzler, them try a ting. And then the last one is Junior, and it's police and thieves in the streets.
Oh yeah. I love that dude.
Yeah, that one.
All right.
Okay. All right. I did. So my 3, I did subscribe to what was set forth. I went with Crucial Robbie, Proud to be Black. That was one of my favorite tunes, late 80s. And then my absolute inspiration of a group, Soul to Soul, Back to Life.
Yeah.
Just the epitome of Black Britishness to me. And then I brought it forward to the noughties and the millennials and went with Stormzy, Crown, because heavy is the head that wears the crown. And as Black people, our heads are heavy.
Wonderful.
Indeed.
Check out our playlist on Spotify. It's a good one. It's actually building up to be a nice one.
Where's the link though? Because
I will put the link in. Again, I'm going to put the link in our stories and on our Facebook page. Please subscribe to the link, and then every time I update it, you will get a ping, a notification that it has been updated weekly.
fantastic.
All right. Okay, Auntie Vanessa, we're going to almost end with you. Have you got an unpopular opinion, something on your hit list, or something that not to piss you off?
Oh my God.
One thing.
Unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm put on the spot because I think that's one thing that, or someone on my hit list. Do you know what? I know we keep talking about him, but I mean that the one person is Boris Johnson. Like, and I know what a way to end, but that's the only thing that I can think of right now. Like, he needs to just go. It's time for him to go. He's on my hit list. I want him out now. And all of his stupid friend, Rishi, needs to go and spend his millions and leave us alone. Okay, he's too rich to be doing this kind of job. And Preeti, I want her to be sent to Rwanda on a one-way ticket.
Exactly.
That's
on a
where
boat.
them lot, all of him and his friends, they need to get out. I'm fed up of them. That's really like on my hit list. I can't, nothing else can top that right now.
Thank you so much. And you're definitely not on our hit list. You're on our wonderful thank you for coming list and being an amazing list. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you to those in the comments and everyone for watching and listening or watching tonight. And this has been your Aunties Could Never. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Watch us back on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to us on all popular listening platforms. Don't forget to leave your comments. And of course, as we've mentioned, we have a Patreon. Subscribe. We've got a couple of tiers. You can pick what's more affordable for you. But come with us on our journey to greatness. And that's it. Join us next week live on Monday or Tuesday. Not sure yet, but you'll get the notification. If you're following us, you'll know.
It's Monday next week, live on Monday.
Live on Monday. So yeah, that's it. Good night.
Night.
Bye.